Greetings, my friends, and welcome to a brand new Nations Guide, an Empire Total War Nations Guide, my friends. And today we're going to be looking at Sweden. I've had quite a lot of requests to be able to do Sweden, quite a lot of requests to bring back sort of Nations Guide. It's been a while since we've been here, my friends, on doing the Nations Guide. A long, long time. Lots of things happening behind the scenes, and also we've got quite a lot of campaigns on the go as well, let's say, at this moment. But I thought I would do this Nations Guide because I really wanted to sort of look at Sweden. It really is in quite a unique position here within the sort of the campaign, within the wider world. And it really is at this time in the 1700s here, a real European superpower. It really is one of the absolute main sort of competitors to the other sort of superpowers, as it were, in the campaign. And as you can see here, they sort of occupy a very, very unique position within the world. They sort of reach from far into the west all the way into the east as well. But the land mass that sort of gets them from west to east and east to west and vice versa really is not as large as some of the other nations have, like Russia, for example, which stretches huge territories. And indeed, so the Ottoman Empire that stretches from west to east. Again, not a massive empire they have that takes them from one sort of extreme to the other. But with Sweden, that extreme is not so massive. It's just the location, the makeup of the land itself allows them sort of this unique position within the world. So let's first of all look at the geographical sort of makeup here of Sweden. As you can see here, we have the sort of the heart here, the core of Sweden itself, Stockholm, my friend, Sweden. And as you can see, Sweden is a massive region here. It really is one of probably the largest single regions in the entire campaign. There's probably a few sort of nations that have maybe, possibly New Spain have quite a large region as well. But for me, I would say this is probably the single largest sort of in sort of land mass, as it were, not in terms of sort of population or anything like that, but just sheer geographical mass, as it were. I said Sweden itself, the actual country of Sweden, here with Stockholm in its heart. It really is look at it. It just sweeps all the way, almost sweeps into sort of the east itself. Look at that, right from the west, all the way from the shores here of the Baltic, all the way around almost at the Arctic. So I mean, that is just a massive amount of land there they have. And with that comes many disadvantages and advantages. Now, of course, the biggest advantage is it gives quite a lot in sort of fur trade. It gives quite a lot of mines. You've got quite a lot of things spread out here. So if you can see, it gives you quite a lot of options within the one sort of location, within the one region, as it were. As you can see, look at this. I mean, close to Stockholm itself, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'd say the school there. So you look at seven sort of villages and towns that are going to bring a huge economic sort of boost to Sweden in the overall picture, as it were, on your doorstep. I mean, literally, all the roads link these together, which is absolutely fantastic. You see, look at that. This is sort of this almost this circular sort of shape to all this. So all the roads lead through all the towns. The economy is flowing quite well, as you can see. Look at that. I mean, already 2,304 from Sweden, 1,634 from France, 1,372 from Britain. I mean, that is a wonderful sort of trading economic start to this to have in Stockholm. It really is an absolute powerhouse. As you go further out into the wilderness, and believe me, this is the wilderness here. You've got the logging camps. You've got a silver mine up here. And then right in here, you've got this fur trader. Now, fur can give you quite a lot here. Let's have a quick look at fur. Fur is 12, but still, I mean, that is not bad. I mean, you've got the fur trader right here, again on the border of Denmark and indeed of Russia here. So you've got a huge amount in Sweden itself of sort of economic power straight off the bat. You really do here. And here as well, a farm. I beg your pardon, my friends. I missed this farm here as well. So as you can see, you're already quite well established. You've got a lot of upgrading options here, specifically economically, and also they're not too hard to defend either. But we'll look at that closer a bit later. Next, we'll go to Finland. Now, of course, Finland itself is huge as well. I mean, look, the size of the Swedish territories and regions are enormous. They really are absolutely massive in sort of the land, the geographical mass is absolutely huge. And you can see you've already got trade moving in from Abo here. I'm probably saying that completely wrong, but as you can see, it feeds along the coast along here, comes here to Helgens 4, and then moves up all the way up here, and then of course heading for Stockholm all the way through here. This is heading for Stockholm to go to the port that's there in Stockholm, the trading port here. So all this is being fed into here in Malmo, and Malmo really is a crucial trading port. But again, we'll talk about that later. That really is the heart of sort of Swedish trade and economy, as it were. So we've got Finland here, and again, you don't have a massive amount of sort of economic sort of buildings here, or villages, towns to be able to build on, but still, again, you've still got a craft workshop, you've still got a logging camp, you've got here a mine which hasn't been built at all, so we need to build this mine here. And again, you're getting 1,050 straight away if you build this mine. Absolutely fantastic. Again, you've got a fur trader. So you've got all sort of these sort of wilderness, as I call it, wilderness economic sort of buildings. You've got fur traders, you've got logging camps, you've got mines here, so a lot of wilderness economy, as it were. People, you can imagine the people there working there out in the remote sort of cold, harsh conditions to bring in that fur, excuse me, my friends, and the logs and the mines and that to really bring in sort of that. But under no illusions here, Sweden really is a powerhouse here, both economically, land-wise, and also because the land is very rich. It's very rich land here, but also militarily, because you've got this sort of power here right from the off here, the economic power. It gives you the ability to be able to develop your military very quickly indeed, probably quicker than many other nations, particularly the sort of Ottomans, which are pretty close to you. And that includes Russia, because Russia is not really that sort of powerhouse just yet. It does take a while to get up there. Of course, you've got a lot of sort of historical ties with Russia that aren't very good at all. Russia and Sweden don't get on at all here. There's a lot of real sort of discourse between the two of them from sort of previous historical sort of shenanigans and battles, as it were. And then we come to St. Petersburg, Ingria here, which is really sort of Sweden's sort of tide mark here of their sort of push into Russia here, where they just absolutely gave Russia a real thrashing here in St. Petersburg, grabbed it off them, and it really is an absolute massive production center here. You've got a blank slate here from which to build in St. Petersburg. Not a massive piece of land. As you can see, the strip of land of Ingria here is very small, and probably the smallest you've got at the moment. It really is absolutely tiny, but it's one of the most important regions you will have, and it is vitally important that you hold it for as long as you can, if not indefinitely, because if Russia get it, it quickly turns into one of the main trading ports, the economic hub of the Russian Empire if they take it from you. But if you keep it, it will quickly turn into your main trading port, apart from Malmo. Malmo is an important port, but this really is the absolute creme de la creme when it comes to ports. Now, this will be the port here. Kronstadt here will be that port. It is absolutely the beating heart here of sort of all of the sort of, I say, the Swedish territory here in the sort of east now. And you've also got here, as you can see, Riga, Estonia, and Livonia. And again, even though this region is not massive, it's bigger than Ingria here. But as you can see, you've already got some very good buildings here. Straight off the bat, you've got a farm, you've got the weaver's cottage, you've even got here the boarding house, and that's going to bring some happiness to lower classes. Also give you the ability to spawn rakes. Talking of rakes, there's your rake here. Look at that, and he's a very good spy as well already. There's a mole +2 to subterfuge, already got a very high skill rating, which is excellent to see. And again here, you've also got a shipyard here, which will definitely, you could possibly either turn that into a trade port, or you can keep it as it is and build this up to keep this trade, or this future trade route, very secure. Personally, if it was me, I'd probably leave it as a shipyard to be able to have that sort of access to the ships that will guard St. Petersburg, which will invariably be attacked by Russia and probably Poland as well at the same time. So you're going to have to definitely reinforce this as quickly as possible. Now, personally, if it was me, I would look at what we've got here in St. Petersburg and really sort of plunge for the military camp, for the military sort of options here. This has to be a military base until you can really absolutely get a grip on the Russians, because believe me, the Russia will not leave you alone for very long. You will be at war with Russia very quickly. So straight away I'd get a barracks up and running, and straight away I would get the cannon foundry up as well, and possibly even the Admiralty as well, to be able to get the research up and going. But primarily, I'd be going for cannon foundry to get the cannons up and running, to get that research, that tech research available as well, and also definitely get the barracks up to give you the options of being able to get the regiment of foot. Look at that regiment of foot, what a wonderful sight there is. There's two options with Sweden. Sweden really does have some fantastic troops, especially their elite troops. Their elite troops are absolutely wonderful, they really are. But as you can see here, this is the sort of the standard line infantry here. As you can see, melee attack 8, charge bonus 10, defense 11. Then we go to this regiment of foot, which is almost like a specialized Swedish line infantry. As you can see, regiment of foot here, melee attack 9, charge bonus 12, defense 13. So you can see the difference as well. You can see that those yellow bars here, these yellow bars indicate, so I switch between the two. What's the yellow bars? They go down here when you switch the line infantry. Regiment of foot, they're just slightly up. They're just a little sort of, a sort of a section up from sort of the line infantry, as it were. A little bit more elite, as it were. Not fully elite, but they're just a little bit more experienced, maybe a little better trained, as it were. As you can see, that regiment, but the recruitment cost is only, as you can see, 10 gold more. So if you can get that barracks up as quickly as possible, you're already going to be turning out some really, really good line infantry, solid line infantry here, regiment of foot. And of course then, you've also got here the Naval regiment of foot. Now these gentlemen really are worth every penny here in St. Petersburg. It really are. Now they're going to be limited. You're not going to be able to get, 30, 40 regiments of Naval. I'm probably saying that completely wrong as well, so please excuse my Swedish pronunciation. It's probably horrific. But Naval. Now these gentlemen, combined with these regiment of foot here, really will give you an absolute solid military backbone here in St. Petersburg. You will need it, my friends. Spend the money on these two possible regiments of foot here, because they really will form a strong defense against any Russian aggression. And indeed, you can probably mix it with line infantry, and indeed mix it with a regiment of horse. But get these, you'll probably be restricted to maybe 3 or 4 regiments per. So you'll probably be able to get 3 of these and maybe 4 of these, or 3 of Naval and 4 of the regiment of foot. Something like that, maybe even 2, maybe limited, but get them in your army for St. Petersburg, because they will prove pivotal to the defense of both. You see the morale here is 8 for those. The defense here is 1 less than a regiment of foot, but if you've got them together, they're going to complement each other very, very well indeed. Especially if you manage to get some regiment of horse in there as well, just to stiffen them up here. Get some line infantry in here as well. It's going to prove absolutely crucial in St. Petersburg. You do start off here in St. Petersburg with a good general. Look at that. Wow. +1 here already. Natural scout plus movement range and -1 command defending on land. Not brilliant, but still, he's got a pretty good commander to start off with, and young as well, so he's going to be around for quite a while. And again, you start off with the standard militia, pikemen, cannon, regiment of horse. And you've also got in here line infantry and also a demi-cannon. For me, personally, and again, I am not telling you this is how it should be, this is just my own personal view on what I would do if I was playing Sweden. I'm not a particular fan of pikemen. I know pikemen can and do have a really good role if you're in a specific fight and a battle against maybe a lot of cavalry. Now I keep them around much longer than I normally would, based on your advice, my friends, because many of you said, Matt, I keep the pikemen because they really do help. But again, this is not about me, this is about just looking at the overall campaign. Personally, I'd keep the pikemen in for a while until those regiments of foot and the Naval came along, and then I would probably disband them to save the money, and then probably invest it in something else. So again, there's St. Petersburg and how you sort of start getting these up and running. Again, of course, if you've got money, invest in the economy here as well. But I would invest entirely here in the military here in St. Petersburg, mainly to keep it in Swedish hands. Then I would probably do the same here. I would be sending units. Again, you've got the military governor's encampment here, which you would spend on. And again, it only gives you militia and it only gives you horse. So you're not going to be getting a great deal here. And again, here you're only going to get militia and horse. So personally, I go for the military governor's encampment because of where you are. You're located on the border of Courland, very, very close to Lithuania and Poland, who don't like you as well. You've got a lot of historical grievances with Poland as well as Russia. So again, once you've got St. Petersburg built up, you maybe want to be sending armies or troops down to Riga as well to try to prevent that. And look, it's even a fortified town, Riga. So if you can get troops in there of good quality, you've already start off with pikemen, militia, line infantry. Look at that general as well. That general is wonderful. +2, +2, and +2. That is a wonderful general. Carl Gustav Reinskold is a wonderful, 50 years old nearly, but that is a wonderful general. He really is. You get troops in there, you could probably hold Riga for a long, long time. So that's pretty much Riga and St. Petersburg, two of your sort of most vulnerable sort of regions, but also, if you're able to hold on to them, two of your most powerful future potential regions as well. And again, for Finland, get up here, I would invest pretty strongly, pretty heavily in what we've got here. Again, you have the standard composition, and also in here you've got the standard composition. I would probably pull these troops back into Stockholm personally, just to give yourself that extra oomph here. What can you recruit here? Oh, look at that, there they are. So Narke Varmland, you can already get 3 of those and 6 of Regiment of Foot. Wow. So again, do you want these to be in Stockholm? No, you don't. You don't need them in Stockholm just yet. Line infantry be more than sufficient here. You've already got some good defences in Stockholm. You want those regiments here in St. Petersburg, because the front line isn't here. The front line will be here against Poland and against Russia. Here's where you want your best troops. Here's where you want to really defend Sweden, because they will try and roll you up from south to north. So they'll try and push through Riga, then they'll push through St. Petersburg, and they'll head for Finland. They'll try and roll you up, moving from Russia, moving from Poland, and move in and around, take Sweden out. So really, here you want to make this an economic centre. You really want to push the economics here. Of course, you've got a school here, so looking to get that up to a college as quickly as possible. And again, as always, you've got your standard sort of, your standard research and technology. Again, I always go for plug bayonet first. It's the very first thing that I do. And of course, put your gentlemen in here to boost that research again. It's come down to 3 from 6. So I definitely get plug bayonets. And the reason I get plug bayonets is it gets me down to ring bayonets. Then it gets me down to military syllabus. Now, military syllabus opens up the drill school, and that gives you all of this. Look at the troops available to you. Look at the troops available when you get that. That's why I push hard for drill school, especially if you're Swedish. Look at this. Look at the regiments you get. I mean, look at that. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, really, really wonderful units. I mean, look at the Grenadiers here. Look at the Grenadiers. I don't know about the pictures, but they look absolutely fantastic. Even the pikemen look good. Grenadiers, look at that. They really is. So that's why I push, or would push really, really hard on that, because you can get elite infantry here. And Army Staff College is going to give you, oh my word. I mean, look at these regiments. I mean, they are just absolutely jaw-droppingly good. I mean, they really are the absolute creme de la creme of elite. Anywhere on any... Oh my god, look at these. I mean, this is wonderful to see. It really is. So again, as you can see, Sweden's got some fantastic regiments, but it's all about giving yourself time to get there. And you start off with a decent fleet, nothing to really write home about here. But you start off with a good fleet. Again, I would definitely set the fleet here in Malmo, because if Malmo gets hit, your economy, which you've already got 2,304 here, which is a huge amount of trade off, and then even your tax income is very, very good here to start with. As you can see, your trade here is pretty good here with those 2 strong allies you've got of Britain and of France. Again, your army tax income is going to pretty much taking care of your army here. But again, if you start sort of recruiting those units, that's going to explode. This army equipment is going to absolutely explode. Trading income is good. Other is very good, nearly 3,000. Navy upkeep is pretty small, so that's pretty good. And again, you've got 4,000. That's the profit you make between spending that and making that, so that's great. Again, you've got trade partners of Britain and France, enemies of pirates and with the Barbary States, which is good, which means you're below the radar already, and you've got a very good king. +4 diplomatic relations, +1 prestige per turn, which is great. Now, your policies, as always, and based upon previous advice I've gotten from you, my friends, again, which has worked absolute wonders for me in all my campaigns, I would definitely lower the taxes here to get that economic growth really, really absolutely up here. As you can see, it's dropped that quite a lot here, but still, the income, the growth from the towns will absolutely blossom. It really will. And your ministers as well. Always careful to have a look at your ministers again. You get good diplomatic relations here with this gentleman here, Karl Halsquist. We've got Stein Hallstrom here, Treasury, very good, +1 bonus of global tax income, +2 bonus to the growth of trade route, +2 per turn to town wealth, which is great. Not brilliant here for justice. Now that's going to be a bit of a problem. But because you're an absolute monarchy, look at this gentleman here. Targ Rainscold. Jeepers creepers. Mind you, you hit the treasury pretty hard there. But his management is excellent. He's harsh. But his justice management would be fantastic. Let's see what he would do to this. Look at that. +15, -15 to the town cost, the cost of town watch. +2 to repression across the theatre. +2 to maximum repression bonus. In other words, this is a gentleman that's going to stamp down very, very hard indeed on any dissent at all. Then you've got the army. Look at that. My word. -6% recruitment cost for all land units. +6 to land technology research rate, and -6 upkeep costs for all army units. Wonderful. The navy, not brilliant. So again, because you're an absolute monarchy, you can just swap these in and out as you see fit. Harsh reputation and honest management here. Tactician. I've got this gentleman here. I'll probably use this gentleman here. Management of justice. No. That's when the management. I'd probably use this gentleman here for navy, and already -2% recruitment cost, -2% upkeep cost, +4 for naval technology. So straight away, you've already got yourself there a wonderful cabinet here. A very, very good king here. So you're looking at a very, very good income here. Trade, not too bad for Britain. 1175 for Britain, 1129 for France. If you can increase that by getting these buildings up and running, very, very good indeed. And has that increased that? Not quite yet, but look at that already. That's shot up there. The town growth, that's gone down there slightly, but still, that will increase over time because we've lowered the taxes. And probably here as well, given time, the taxes will sort that out. We've lowered taxes. That's already gone up as well, so that's great. Now, we've looked at the sort of geographical, and also we've looked at some of the military and what you could do sort of tactically. So let's have a now look at potential allies, potential enemies for the future. Now, straight away, the first thing you can notice, my friends, is Denmark and indeed Norway. These are probably the two of the primary goals after you've sort of set your defences against Poland and Sweden and Courland, against Russia, I beg your pardon, and Poland and Courland, because Courland is actually an ally of Poland. So you've got to be careful of that. Denmark and Norway here are really the absolute key. You want to unify Scandinavia under your control. If you can get Denmark here, if you can get Norway here, you're going to get yourself a really, really fine sort of link up here to Sweden. They're going to interlock pretty well here. Now, it doesn't have a massive amount of economic sort of power, as it were. They've got here a minefield up here, an iron minefield up here. I don't believe it's got much else here. Lots of hills. They got, beg your pardon, we've got an iron minefield here as well. Got a logging. Yeah, that's going to be a timber mill or logging camp. Not built anything there yet either. You've got a port here, a little fishery. You've got a farmland here. And you've got Christiania here. Christiania. So again, infrastructure going to have to be built if you take that, and it's got no army at all defending this. So you could basically take this army from here, and you could move in and take Christiania if you want, or you can wait and build this up and go for Denmark, because look at Denmark, at Copenhagen. That already is a really, really excellent city to take. Look at it. It's already pretty well built up here. You've got the standard sort of, starting setup, as it were, starting army here, starting strike force. But again, it does give you access. It's the strategic access that Denmark, Copenhagen gives you. It gives you control of the Baltic. It effectively gives you control of the access in and out of the North Sea and in the Baltic here. If you control this, you dictate who comes in and who comes out of the North Sea and the Baltic Sea, and vice versa. You could control it completely. Also give you a denser here, another school. Gives you a lot of ports, trading port here as well. I believe you'll probably get another trading here. Lubeck will probably eventually be a trading port, and so will Husum here. So again, personally, if it was me, the first thing I would do is I would strike straight for Copenhagen here. As you can see, completely undefended. It's got quite a big garrison though, as you can see here by those sort of the grey bars here. That's a pretty big, that's like a half-stack garrison force. So you're going to have to build up your army here very, very quickly. But again, you can get line infantry, you can get the regiment of horse, you can get the guns here. that would be able to wheel itself down to here, crossing, because these arrows here donate, you can just cross without having to have a ship, so you can just basically walk across these. You can take Copenhagen before the Danes really sort of reinforce it quite strongly. Then it gives you access into Western Europe. It gives you access into Western Europe should you need it, through Hanover, and indeed through Prussia here. But if you can link up with these, if you've got good strong allies in Prussia, and maybe Hanover, maybe even the Dutch, who are very, very strong, especially a strong trading nation here. They want to try and get trade with the Dutch if you possibly can, because they're allies with Britain. So that's a pretty good sort of partnership to have there with the Dutch. They do have a lot of trade. The trade is absolutely, look at that, nearly 10,000 already. Wonderful trading nation, the Dutch, they really are. So that would be my goal. Straight away, before anything else, I'd be looking to unify Scandinavia under the Swedish flag. At the same time reinforcing Riga and St. Petersburg, and looking very, very closely what happens in it. Because remember, Russia does have these sort of far eastern sort of territories that they can sort of punish you with by sending troops up through these regions here. Because again, your borders are so massive, they're open. You could never ever sort of seal off these borders with troops. It would just take it would take about 4 or 5 army groups to seal off this border. And by that time, Russia would be all over you. So again, you have to sort of solidify your defenses around a particular location. In this particular instance, St. Petersburg, because that's what they'll hit. Russia will want St. Petersburg back very, very quickly. So be very mindful here. They've got this force here as well. I see a pretty powerful force here, especially with the Cossack infantry. So again, you want to get this up and running as quickly as possible as a military base. Same with Riga, and you want to really solidify this as a sort of economic hub, and at the same time try and push out that army to take Denmark as quickly as possible. And of course, infrastructure is so vitally important. Try and get the copper roads up. But again, you only start off with 7,000. It's not a massive amount of money. So you're going to have to prioritize. You're going to have to find that equilibrium, my friends, between military and economy. So one turn you will sort of build military sort of units or buildings, and then the next turn you would then build an economic building to balance it out. You must have balance. And of course, you've got another fisheries down here as well. Fishing fleet here in Visby. So again, it's going to give you 500 region plus population growth as well, so that's excellent here for this. And of course, Britain is already sort of defending, as it were, the North Sea part. You've also got France, which is a really, really massive nation here. It doesn't look a lot here, but it does have very, very powerful forces all ready to move into position here. As you can see, what a general that is. You've got Spain as well on the doorstep, but you're at peace with pretty much everyone. You're at peace with every single one. Of course, Russia's hostile with you and Poland's hostile with you. Be very, very careful what you do here with these two. But if you can get trade with Russia, there's a chance you might be able to get trade with Russia. Maybe if you can do that, we can do that. That would be worth it. That would be worth it. They're only unfriendly with you now, but they're still only minus 70. Maybe the same with Poland. If you can try and get a trade agreement with Poland, no, they're not. So be careful of Poland. They may declare war on you very, very quickly. And indeed, Denmark are hostile. Be careful of Denmark. Be careful of Courland. These are very, very hostile states towards you. Look at Denmark, minus 77. I wonder if you could trade with Denmark. Would that ease them? No, it wouldn't be. So again, you're going to have to be exceptionally careful. You've got no technology to give them. Maybe a payment of 500 would do it. Let's have a look. No. So be very careful of Denmark as well, because they may start a war on you, with you. So again, my friends, be very, very vigilant here of what's going on. But now you've got trade moving in from Sweden and Russia. That might just nullify the sort of Russian threat for a bit, but also give you plenty of money coming in. As you can see, it's already boosted your trade income to 3163. That gives you more income per next turn. But my friends, that is pretty much sort of where you stand with Sweden. Now, of course, expansion-wise, you can either defend really, really hard against sort of Russian threat here and hold the line here, and use sort of the western part of sort of the Swedish empire, as it were, to take out Denmark as a whole here and reunite Scandinavia. That would be personally would be my first thought in terms of conquests and campaigns. Now again, give you access to a lot of these sort of smaller nations here, which you might be able to take advantage of if they declare war on you, if they go to war with somebody else. You might be able to sort of dive in, strike when they're not, when their attention is turned elsewhere. But if you dive into Western Europe, you are diving into a hornet's nest. You really, really are diving into a hornet's nest here. This place is likely to erupt with so many different wars with different nations. If you get involved in it, you're going to be dragged into it for years and years and years. Personally, I would be looking towards the east here. Poland and Russia would be my main targets after I've united Scandinavia. This is where my main war would be, is right here. I'd use the power of Scandinavia in terms of its uh, economic power and its military might, and I would be funneling all my forces into here to fight on the Russian front. It would take years and years and years, and maybe even decades to quell the Polish and Russian threat, but that's what I would do, my friends. And then from there, the world is your oyster, my friends. The world is your oyster. But that is where I'm going to end this nation's guide, my friends, on Sweden. I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, please comment, like, and subscribe if you haven't. Please keep your comments coming down. If those of you who've played the Swedish campaign, please let me know how you've done, what you did, where you went, which ways you went. Where did you attack first? What did you defend? Where did you put your money into? That type of thing. So let me know, my friends. To start to build up a little bit of a knowledge bank here about the different nations, and that's particularly Sweden. I will eventually do a Sweden campaign as well because it looks fantastic to do. Hope you've enjoyed it, my friends. Hope whatever you're doing, hope you have a good week. Be safe whatever you're doing. And until next time, my friends, bye for now.